Hello everyone, I hope you enjoyed watching the short video as much as I did. I really wanted you to see the beauty of our planet, Earth. Earth is known to be the only planet that maintains life. There are different types of species that live on this planet. However, unfortunately, the reckless behavior of human beings has led to different environmental issues like climate change and global warming. So our new unit is titled The Earth, Our Home. In this unit, we will explore different issues related to Earth, our planet, and the environment. The first lesson that we will read is if we fail to act, we will end up with a different planet. Notice the structure of the title of the lesson. It is a conditional statement or an if clause. If we fail to act, we will end up with a different planet. If we want to specify the pattern of this sentence as well, we notice that it portrays a cause-effect relationship. If we fail to act, we will end up with a different planet. This would be the result. If we don't do anything, if we don't act right away, if we don't take any serious measures, we will end up with a different planet. Shall we start? Our objectives for this lesson are to identify the general tone in the first two paragraphs, to identify pronoun reference, and to list possible effects of global warming. The following is a list of vocabulary words that will help you understand or comprehend the text better. Let's take a look at them together. Emission, an amount of something, usually a gas, sent to the air. I'm sure you've heard this term before. Testimony, evidence or proof of something. Curb, limit or control. Gag, to prevent from speaking. Trigger, to cause. Extinction, a situation in which something no longer exists. Latitude, angular distance measured in degrees north or south from the equator. Potent, having great power, influence, or effect. Tipping point, the critical point in a situation where an unstoppable effect or change takes place. Of course, these vocabulary words, they might be new to you. Some of them you might be familiar with them. However, make sure that you refer to them while reading the text. Let's start reading the first three paragraphs together. One of the world's leading experts on climate change has warned that the Earth is being turned into a different planet because of the continuing increase in man-made emissions of greenhouse gases. So the author is telling us that an expert on climate change has warned that our planet Earth is changing because of the human activities which release a lot of greenhouse gas emissions. So this Earth is turning into a different planet. Of course, a different planet here suggests that it's something bad. In an interview with The Independent, Jim Hansen, who was one of the first scientists to warn of climate change in scientific testimony to the US Congress in 1988, claimed that we have less than 10 years to begin to curb carbon dioxide emissions before global warming runs out of control and changes the landscape forever. Notice how the author in these two paragraphs is serious and worried about the issue of global warming. I mean, the topic is a serious matter. He is also warning us that if we do not act immediately, if we do not begin to curb carbon dioxide emissions, then global warming is just going to run out of control and is going to change our planet forever. Last year, Dr. Hansen, director of the NASA Goddard Institute for Space Studies, part of Columbia University in New York, complained that NASA public relations officials appointed by the Bush administration had tried to gag him by limiting his access to the media. But in talking to this newspaper, he was outspoken, warning that there are already worrying signs that global warming is beginning to trigger dangerous positive feedbacks within the climate, which can accelerate the rate of climate change. Notice how the term positive feedbacks here relates to something negative. It's something destructive. So why is that? Well, first of all, if you notice, the author said trigger dangerous positive feedbacks. So they are dangerous and they're going to accelerate the rate of climate change. So they're going to increase the rate of climate change. Also, we have the two words worrying signs. This also suggests that positive feedbacks here does not relate to something good. It's actually something negative. So here basically Dr. Hansen, he was prevented from speaking to anyone about these dangerous effects, and we know this because the Bush administration tried to gag him, which means that they prevented him from speaking. Dr. Hansen said, "We just cannot burn all the fossil fuels in the ground. If we do, we will end up with a different planet. I mean, a planet with no ice in the Arctic, and a planet where warming is so large that it's going to have a large effect in terms of sea level rises and the extinction of species." So Dr. Hansen here is providing us with several effects because of global warming. So he said that we are going to end up with a different planet because we will have no ice in the Arctic, and we will also see the sea level is going to rise, and that's also going to affect some species, and we will end up losing many of them. Positive feedbacks in the high latitudes of the northern hemisphere are already starting. One is the loss of sea ice, which means less sunlight and heat is reflected back into space, making the Arctic even warmer. Another is the release of methane from the frozen tundra. Methane gas is 20 times more potent than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas, Dr. Hansen said. The greatest concern is that positive feedbacks at high latitudes do, in fact, seem to be coming into play. We can't just let those feedbacks get out of control, or we will have passed a tipping point, he said. So, Dr. Hansen, the expert on climate change, is mentioning and saying that these positive feedbacks, these dangerous effects, if we are just going to let them get out of control, then we will reach a point where we will not be able to go back and change things. So that's it for today. The following is your homework. Answer the following questions, of course, referring back to the text and in your own words. Question number 1. What is the general tone in the first two paragraphs? Explain. So the author's tone was explained before. Just a reminder, it relates to the author's attitude toward the topic that he's talking about. So basically it means how he feels and what he thinks of what he is talking about. Question number 2. What do the following pronouns or words refer to in the text? This is actually also a type of question that you are familiar with. So basically the following are specific words and pronouns that you will find in the text in bold type and underlined as well. So you would have to go back to the indicated paragraph to find out what do they refer to. So you have this newspaper in paragraph 3, I in paragraph 4, one in paragraph 5, and another in paragraph 5. Question number 3. Fill in the chart below with possible effects of global warming. So the cause is global warming. You would have to go back to the text to find 5 possible effects of global warming.